Good evening. Welcome to the Ashland Planning Board meeting of Thursday, April 25th, 2019. We are being recorded and broadcast on WACA, and we thank them for that. On our agenda for tonight, we have an A&R, a lot release, some other discussions, but the most exciting thing is we have a candidate here for the position of planning director. So with that said, let's do the A&R quickly and get that taken care of, because I understand this is for 31 Franklin Road, and there's a request to withdraw this because they said the new lot that they're creating is being combined with another lot, but that other lot was not part of the plan as submitted, and that needs to be, so they can't combine it without including it in the plan. So they
change it from an A&R to a approval required?
No, it's still just shifting lot lines around, and it's not creating any new buildable lots. It does look like they're laying the groundwork to potentially put in a new street off of Franklin Road that might be a 2 or 3 lot subdivision, but that would require a completely separate process,
Right.
and doing this A&R doesn't actually give them anything, but it might be one step towards that because it pulls a property out of what would be that subdivision, should they come forward with that. But that being the case, we don't have any justification for not saying no to this, so I'll entertain a motion to accept the withdrawal of the A&R for 31 Franklin Road.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 3-0. All right. Should we get this lot release over with too?
Sure.
Yeah, the Lake Park Estates. I've actually not heard of this subdivision. It actually predates my time on the board.
1960.
Yes, that predates my time entirely. This is a lot release. I'm guessing someone was selling property and the bank did some background check and said, we don't see any lot release on file, so they asked for one. Is that right?
Yes.
So this is clearly something where we wouldn't have any security or any issues with that we would normally want to hold back. So is there any other discussion on this, or should we just approve it? Is there a motion to release 10 Edgewood Drive? Is that the...
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes 3-0.
So the last time we did this, I think
Yeah,
you had to come in the next day.
yeah, it looks like it wants a notary on this.
So I am not in tomorrow.
Okay.
Is Tara?
And you're not a notary?
I am.
You are?
Myself.
Okay. That's good, because the first thing we always tell a new planning director is, you need to become a notary.
Yeah.
And we just got our last planning director to be a notary, and then she got snapped up by another town because they like planning directors who are notaries. I'm sure that was the reason.
We're a commodity, I would say.
So, no, I would not ask you to notarize this. But yeah, we will, we can sign it, and then I can come in and do the last signature with Tara tomorrow.
Okay, and then
So,
just
we can
leave it
take
with
care of this,
someone. Okay.
the signing later.
Okay.
And that said, let's go ahead and meet our candidate. And I believe we have some town staff to do an introduction.
Good afternoon, Jen Ball, the Assistant Town Manager. I just want to give you a quick overview of the process that we went through, and we were lucky enough to find Peter Machek, who he can sort of go over some of his credentials, but he was certainly impressive. Both Joe and Dale participated on a search evaluation committee with Michael, Lisa, myself. We interviewed three very strong candidates, but Peter was by far the strongest candidate coming to us with experience as a town planner in two municipalities and serving right currently as a director of planning. One of the things that I think is really great is that bringing some of his leadership skills, we're hoping to have him oversee not only the assistant town planner, but also our building commissioner and the admin who is in charge of the building department, to sort of streamline that process a bit and also assist with some zoning enforcement. And I think that would be a really nice, strong team. Previously, before Sheila, Nat oversaw the entire community development, and that seemed to be a sort of very large entity, but I think that the coordination and the collaboration that happens between planning and building, this will be a really nice fit. So we were really lucky we snatched up Peter. As he said, it is a very competitive market right now, and we are really lucky to have him. So I will turn it over to Peter.
Yeah, you need to come to the podium or people at home can't hear you. I'm always surprised how many people actually watch our meetings.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So, like, to a little bit about myself.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. So, right now, I serve as the director of planning in the town of Cohasset, Massachusetts, and I've been there for about 18 months. In Cohasset, I oversee the planning board, the master plan, and a harbor committee. So I can talk about some of the projects that we're completing there. I would say over the last 12 months, the town of Cohasset has completed a master plan with help of the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission. And so we're finishing up that. So I kind of spearheaded and directed that entire kind of planning development, public outreach, chapter development, staffing of that committee. Additionally, Cohasset being a coastal community, we have a quintessential quaint harbor area, which is about 60, 70 acres, including the water sheet. And so the town of Cohasset's last harbor plan was developed in 1980. So the town received a $80,000 grant from the Economic Seaport Council. Therefore, I spearheaded a master plan for the harbor area with the consultants of Harriman, staffing the committee, but also running the outreach with all public citizens and the communications with the state agencies, the Coastal Zone Management, and also the Department of Conservation and Recreation, which hopefully owns and operates a seawall and a jetty that exists in the town of Cohasset. So those are the two major planning efforts that I've kind of spearheaded and oversaw the last 18 months that my time in Cohasset. On smaller projects, the town was just accepted and we completed the Complete Streets Prioritization Plan, which opened the community up for up to $400,000 of funding for the redevelopment and/or development of sidewalks, ADA compliant ramps, and sidewalks with the community, bike sharing lanes, really kind of the rethinking, I would say, the public realm of the street, not thinking about the automobile, the pedestrian, the biker. And so that was another plan that was started and completed under my watch when I was in Cohasset. Excuse me, I'm gonna switch two towns up because I've been on the South Shore for a little too long. More to the point, other things that I've completed in the town of Cohasset is the town of Cohasset, under my direction, was qualified as a housing choice community. Therefore, opened our community up to additional funding for affordable housing projects that can be applied for through the state agencies, the Department of Housing and Community Development. And then also being a coastal community, going back to the water, the town of Cohasset received a municipal vulnerability preparedness grant, and that plan was put in place under my watch, where we kind of looked at how the changing climate will affect the town moving forward. Anything from, aging population, cell phone coverage within the town, sea level rise, flooding, inland flooding. So those are the certain projects that I've worked on. Before my time in Cohasset, I acted as the town planner in the town of Hanover, a neighboring South Shore community, for 4.5 years. In Hanover, I oversaw the development, again, of a master plan. So I've been working on master plans for about 4 years. So it's kind of my specialty, I guess, these days. So, but in Hanover, I for 4.5 years, I worked with the planning board, the zoning board of appeals, the CPC committee, the Affordable Housing Trust. And so I staffed many boards, many committees. I believe that, working with so many boards and committees really kind of got me and prepared me to move forward with my career. And it's kind of rounded out the knowledge base that I have. Kind of just to describe some of my education that I've received, prior to my work experience. I grew up in the North Shore. I grew up in the town of Danvers. My two hobbies are I play hockey and I play golf. And those are my two big things, I would say. After high school, I went to Westfield State, where I minored in regional planning, I majored in regional planning with a minor in geographical information systems, GIS. I graduated in 2007. There was a little recession that hit in 2008, just a little one. And I went back to graduate school, and so I received a graduate certificate in GIS from Salem State in 2008-09 time frame. So I have experience. I have years of experience using GIS. It wasn't really part of the job in my previous job at Cohasset. However, I did organize and run the GIS system for the town of Hanover within the planning office, I would say. So I do have that entire skill set available to the town of Ashland. And then in academic year 2011-2012, I completed a master's degree in regional planning from the University of Massachusetts Amherst. In my thesis study, I studied the reuse and redevelopment of the Salem, Mass power plant, looking at the best reuse of a 1950 coal power plant that was on the water. And that really kind of opened my eyes up to regional planning, city planning, and there really kind of sparked my career and kind of led me down the road that I have taken within municipal planning. So, in a kind of from the where I am today, going back, that's how I've built my career. I would say since graduating Westfield State in 2007.
Okay. Do you have any comments or questions? Go ahead.
I mean, I think, obviously, I did get a chance to meet you over the phone. It's nice to meet you in person. I think you have, looking at your career, your education, you have like a really nice trajectory and path. Founding, where you are now is founded on the education you've gotten, the degrees, and your continued pursuit of the career path that you're on. And, I think you have, especially with Hanover, but also Cohasset, I think you have a lot of awesome work experience that I think could help Ashland and could serve this community well the way it served prior communities you've worked in.
Thank you.
So, it's great.
And what the assistant planner said, assistant town manager said about him being clearly the best of the three that were interviewed, do both of you concur on that? Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
The only thing I'll add, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
I definitely, I thought your comments and your interest in this community and being in this role for a period of time and making this kind of your the next piece of your career. I think that's really important to me. Like that was an important part of, how I felt about you as a candidate beyond your, excellent experience. But like, I think that I'd really love to see the person that takes this role kind of spend some time here with us and and really help us kind of complete some stuff.
Yeah.
We're right at the cusp of a lot of stuff, and it's like we're just trying to get over the line. I think.
Yeah, I know.
So.
You know, I've looked at Ashland. I've studied Ashland. During this process, and I know it's a community about twice the size that I'm working in now, and that's interests me. But it's also a community with a lot of things going on, and a lot of planning projects, and that's something. As I continue to grow my career and build as a planner, that's something that I'm very much interested in, and what really attracted me to the town of Ashland, and going forward into this position. I would also mention, I'm at a pivotal point in my personal life, and my wife and I are starting a family, and I would say we are looking, within the next, few years to move out to the Metro West area, and so geographically, Ashland, I do plan to, be here for a while if successful. It's a place where I think I can really kind of take that next step in my career from a professional standpoint, but also it allows me to make a very big step in my personal life too, as I start my family.
I like hearing that, because I was just about to say, and you've already responded, so no response is needed, that I know we're poaching you from Cohasset after only 18 months, and I really hope not to go through this process again anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I've
yeah.
over my years of experience, I understand, and I've witnessed, and I've rode, I've witnessed a lot of movement within municipal government. I think the marrying the location of Ashland and the ability to continually build my career, and continue to promote, not to promote, but to add experiences to my resume, is what I was looking for. And Ashland provides me both opportunities. And for me, it was, to me, I thought it was an opportunity I could not let pass by. And Cohasset's a great community, but Cohasset is a South Shore community, and there's not too many easy ways to get to Cohasset, and this is where I want to to bring my career and start my family in the Metro West area.
Yeah, looking through your resume, there were actually two things that stood out to me. First of all, the GIS experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know that much about how things work in that office. I just know I've been on the planning board for almost 14 years now, and have been through several planning director hiring processes. And I remember town staff saying, be sure to hire someone with GIS experience. Was a common refrain in some of these processes, so I'm glad you have that.
Thank you.
I expect it will come in handy. The other thing that stands out to me, which will be no surprise to my fellow planning board members, is seeing the Danvers Rail Trail Committee.
Yes.
I point that out because I am on the Upper Charles Trail Committee here in town.
Yeah.
What did you do on that trail committee, and are you
So
familiar with the Upper Charles
I was a
Trail?
member. I was actually in your seat as a town citizen. I was actually at that point I was in my life I was going to graduate school for GIS at Salem State, and then I continued on to go to UMass Amherst. One of the assistant planner at the time in 2008 in the town of Ipswich, where I interned coming out of undergrad, a planner named Kate Day, who really acted as a role model for me, knew I grew up in Danvers and that I had an undergrad in regional planning, and I was interested in municipal government, how things work, and she offered me an opportunity to volunteer on the rail trail, on the rail trail committee. The rail trail did not exist in the town of Danvers. There was only an easement, and the town did not want to spend any dollars on building a rail trail. And it was really up to the committee to make it happen without a budget. and which was very interesting for me to learn at the age of 21, 22, 23. And so I volunteered as a committee member, and we, the town of Danvers got a 99-year lease from the MBTA, and then we contracted with a company called Iron Horse, which I believe was from Texas, and they actually removed the steel and the ties, and then they graded out the trail, and then it was really up to the committee to take the next steps. And so on Saturday mornings, we volunteered, and we dug holes and poured, mixed concrete and put benches along the rail trail. We graded the rail trail sometimes, filling in holes with crushed stone. We worked at meetings, putting mile markers together and kind of coming up with a campaign to make money to create our own budget, and it was a great success. And so I was a committee member on the rail trail committee, and I learned a lot. And it was really one of those experiences that I had, and it's a real proud thing that I do put on my resume that I do not take lightly. But yeah, that was.
As somebody very involved in our trail process, from the trail committee side, we hope to pull you into that a bit.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to get pulled into that. I think rail trails are awesome. They're in my eyes are a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
So,
our challenge here is it's a rail trail without a rail.
without
so-
a rail.
Yes, we're piecing together undeveloped property and getting easements, and there's no rail bed on most of it, so.
Gotcha,
it's- Yeah,
gotcha.
it's a challenge.
It's each rail corridor has its challenges. Some a little bit straightforward than others, but I understand I understand, and I'm happy. I'm happy to help and work with the committee.
Welcome. So, we're talking to our, hopefully soon-to-be new town planner, so.
How you
I
doing?
don't know if you have any,
John
Nice.
Rossi, nice to meet you.
How you doing, Peter Matchak? Very nice to meet you.
I don't know if we have anything else left in this process. My understanding is that the appointment process is by the town manager with the consent of the planning board. So in order to move forward with this, we would need a vote in favor from the planning board. The planning board, for people watching, has no involvement whatsoever in benefits, salary, that kind of negotiation. That's all handled through the town manager's office. Thank goodness. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a part of that. That's not what we do here on the planning board. So, that said, are we ready to take a vote on this? Is there somebody want to make the motion?
I move that we recommend him for the town planner.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank
and-
you.
Pay to include John because he came in late.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
Okay.
and if somebody contests it, then the vote will drop to 3-0 and it still counts.
Okay.
So, it's it's his last meeting. It's not too picky.
He's been following along in his
No,
life.
I don't think that's a problem. So, hopefully we will hear of a start date and all of that at some point, or do we already have that negotiated?
Yeah, it's already negotiated. We'll be starting with the town May 13th. So I have 2 weeks left after 2 weeks later after this week in town of Cohasset, and then I'll be leaving. My end date in Cohasset will be May 10th. I'll be starting May 13th. So I'll be coming for, I would say, 2 weeks, and then my wife is actually due with our first child.
Wow.
And so I will most likely disappear for a week.
Congratulations.
For good reasons.
Congratulations.
And then I will be back as soon as possible to really kind of lead the charge.
Get some rest.
Thank you.
You told her, you did tell her not to have it on a second or fourth Thursday of the
Yeah.
So, So have you thought about how you're gonna commute?
The Mass Pike.
Okay. You should think about commuter rail.
I would love to.
Yeah.
So I live in Boston right now.
Yeah.
The commuter rail would work. So depending on time and schedule, I think that's what I'll kind of get.
We can wave in the morning.
You can- exactly. It's a reverse commute,
Yeah.
and
That's true.
The schedules are a little awkward for a reverse commute. The commuter rail is, if you have a 9 to 5 job in Boston, it's not
Yeah.
bad. Anything else, the schedules can be iffy.
Yeah. And it's
So-
good traffic wise anyway. Yeah.
So.
it's good traffic wise. And like I said, I think I'm very excited to become, the director of planning in the town of Ashland. I think there's great opportunities, and I look forward to starting.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Peter.
All right. A couple other items. The IECC building code. We talked about this a bit at the previous meeting. It turned out I was incorrect on one item. I'd been led to believe that the town would register once as a town, and I found out after the meeting I was incorrect, that we can register separately as the planning board, separate from the selectmen, and the sustainability committee also registered. So I went ahead and did that, and it was $135, and if the planning board thinks that was the right thing, then the planning board could vote to authorize reimbursement of that. But that's,
Should we talk about that and take a vote?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
So, President, can you just give us? I know we talked briefly about this
Yeah.
the last meeting. Can you just kind of
right.
make the
The,
case for the importance of this?
The
in your view?
ICC is the organization that develops the building codes, not just for Massachusetts, but for all of the building codes that all the states end out adopting. And I think it's international. I think the I is for international, so it could, and so they're going through a new update to the building code, and if by registering we get to actually vote on that and have a say in making the building code more energy efficient, more sustainable going forward, and there's been a big push to get people who would vote in that way to register. That's why the sustainability committee, for example, has done that.
And which other entities in town have registered?
The sustainability committee and the board of selectmen.
Okay. And so every member of those said committees gets a vote. Is that how that works?
The cost of membership and the number of votes is based on the community size, and in our case, it's 4 members. And
So 4 members from this committee.
yes, so 4 members, or we could designate staff or such. Currently, I designated the 4 members who are not up for election this year as the voting members. We would have the potential to change that going forward.
So we have 4 votes. The Board of Select will have some number of votes, 4
4
votes.
votes, and the
then
sustainability gets
Commission
4
will have
votes.
Okay, got it.
So.
Okay, and what's the volume of activity from your perspective? Any sense of
There's
that?
not a lot of activity, is
yeah,
my
so,
understanding.
like-
It's basically wait until it's time to vote, and then we go online and vote.
Yeah.
Good in reimbursing you.
Go ahead, make your motion.
I move, did you pay for it?
I did. I just
And
put it
then
on
I
credit card.
remove that we reimburse Preston.
Before you do, sorry, just one question. This is admin funds, or where's this?
This would be out of the planning board budget,
Okay,
so.
and there's sufficient budget to do this.
you know, I actually have a personal interest in this, so I'm gonna recuse myself, for any motion or, vote on this. I think that'd be appropriate.
Okay.
So that means you can chair until,
Okay.
So we
So-
take it. Well, I move that we
So-
reimburse Preston for the fees he paid for the IEC, $135 out of the planning board's fund.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that motion to reimburse Preston passes 3-0-1.
You
The
can come back
abstention is
in,
the third, right?
not an abstention, I was
Recused, so 3-0-0.
not part of the board
Okay.
for the purposes of that vote.
So 3-0-0.
But
Okay.
you were close enough to see how we voted, so.
You didn't take long enough for me to walk farther away. So,
Okay.
so here is receipt. I don't know what the process is,
Figure it out.
so. All right, other than that, we have some minutes.
The
Let's-
first two sets.
Can we, before we do minutes, can we do a couple announcements?
I'd be happy to do announcements.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
So, just want to encourage everybody listening at home to please come out and vote on May 1st for the town meeting to cover, you know, a number of items, but most importantly, the town's budget for fiscal year 2020, I guess it would be.
That's right.
So, May 1st at the high school, 7 o'clock.
Yes, and there is childcare provided.
There we go. So,
Yes,
I
and
can go.
it's a relatively short number of articles compared to many town meetings.
Yeah.
So hopefully
So
we'll get through it
regardless-
at a reasonable hour.
regardless of the issues or how you feel, come out and vote.
Yes. And John, I misstated. I said earlier that I thought this was your last meeting.
It's one more, I think.
There is one more. I was thinking, I got town meeting and town election switched around in my head. That's why I did that, and I apologize.
No problem.
So,
No worries.
I'll cover the election, Preston.
yes, there is a town election coming up. There are contested seats for selectmen. I believe there are 4 candidates running for 2 seats, only one of whom is an incumbent. So that should be an exciting race. And for planning board, there is 1 seat with 2 candidates and no incumbent. I personally know both candidates, and I'm not endorsing either privately and certainly not from here. I will say they're both good candidates, and they come from different angles, and I would look forward to working with either of them. So I really encourage people to pay attention and make a good choice. And it should be a hard choice because they're both good. So that said,
I have one more.
go right ahead.
So, one of the projects that the CPC funded in 2018 was for some new dugouts and benches in Stone Park, and those have now mostly been installed. And I think there's actually a ribbon cutting on Saturday morning at 8:30. On Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. to kind of unveil the new dugouts and benches and stuff. It looks great, and it's a nice improvement to Stone Park. So just making people aware.
Yeah, they look nice.
Yeah,
Great.
Should be good. So that's it.
All right. Are there any other reports now?
Ribbon cutting at the teeter totter.
All right. Well, let's go on to the all-exciting minutes. And spend some minutes on minutes. January 24th. We are a bit behind on
Yeah.
this. Let's get
How many do we have
this.
to do?
It looks like we have the 24th and the 31st here, and they're both relatively short.
Okay, let's do it. First page, 26, 27, 28. You'd say that there was, Ms. Dumas responded that A&R meets zoning requirements, has been reviewed by town council, and the board is in receipt of a letter from the town manager. Was this reviewed by our technical folks? Did it go to peer review?
No.
No, A&Rs wouldn't.
Okay, that's fine, thank you.
30. It's
ARN.
ARN, not I mean it's A&R. No big deal.
Yeah.
but-
Just typo.
That's a different.
Now, I
That's
don't
the newer
understand
version.
something. At the end of the discussion on the A&R, it says there was a motion made and seconded and to
Yeah.
endorse and the vote total.
Row 18.
But back up at row 18, I have no idea what that was. There's a vote.
Oh, that's a typo.
So strike 18,
Just strike line 18?
if that's what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Row 52, row 51, 52. So there was one abstention from the signing of the 15 McGonko Road.
Mhm.
Was that because you missed the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. We go to the 24th? Whatever that's worth.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of January 24th as amended?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 4-0.
I'll let you get a few in before you go.
January 31st. Line 17 should be seconded. I think we put that in we put it in past tense to be consistent, and passed. Or 300. Just a. But it doesn't matter.
No, I'll fix them for the past tense.
And the
Well,
same
it's
on
the ceiling fan.
24,
One
25.
or the other.
Yeah,
Hi, Mark.
turned on those
How you
ceiling
doing, buddy?
fans.
But
Good,
yeah,
thanks.
I think this is all pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve with typographical corrections?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
That passes 301.
Do we have minutes from our working session? That was in February?
I wasn't able to.
Okay,
make
no,
this
the-
meeting.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just was more confirming, like, we're gonna have them and we're gonna approve them, right?
Right, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I used the recorder, because,
Right.
yeah, we would
Okay.
Oh,
need
yeah.
something.
We got
I believe we
still
have
early
a
if you want to go type
3
them up
meeting
real quick.
requirement on
It's a
that.
nice offer,
I
too.
don't want to
He's
get.
the one who didn't wanna televise, so honestly, me using the recorder was kinda neat.
I was gonna pull out my cell phone and do the same and then send you the sound file if you didn't. So, yeah, that's the right way to do it. So.
On the topic that we talked during the working session, and there's a number of topics we discussed, obviously, but one of them was, we talked about, some potential public hearings, public discussions about some of the zoning stuff. What's your, our docket continues to be lighter right now. What's your thoughts in terms of, like, do we start to have some early discussions? Obviously, it's not something until the fall, so we don't want to get started too early, but with zoning, sometimes it's, the earlier the better. Communicate early and often, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what
And
your
we
thoughts.
should bring our new town planner in on the process.
Sure.
And start in, June, July,
Okay.
get some,
New member.
and to get the
Yeah.
new member up to
Yeah,
speed
good
and
point.
start drafting,
Cool.
for at least for some of the more straightforward ones.
Okay. That's great.
Already talking about you in the past tense.
All right, it's 8:01. Wow,
I make a motion,
go ahead.
make a motion to end the meeting at 8:01 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.